1, what did you guys get? C, A.
Okay. Wait, what did I
All right. Shh. Shh. All right. A painter will paint N walls with the same size and shape in a building using a specific brand of paint. Painter's fee will be calculated by N times K times L times H, where N is the number of walls. K is a constant with units of dollars per square foot. L is the length of each wall in feet. H is the height of the wall in feet. If a customer asks the painter to use a more expensive paint, which of the factors would change? That would be the one that they labeled as the paint. This K, units of dollars per square foot, that's how much the paint cost. So that's the one that would change. Number 2, what did you guys get? Okay, you guys, anytime you're doing this, the bottom number is the root. It goes on the outside. The top number is the square. So it's a squared, and then you're taking the cube root of that. All right, I guess I just didn't go in order. Number 2, what did you guys get? That one's pretty easy, okay? Hopefully you don't need a whole lot of explanation. Number 4, what did you guys get? Now that I'm showing it to you. Yeah, it is B, okay? 1776 to 1849 is twice the number that joined between 1850 and 1900. So then they tell us how many joined, so we can write this little formula to get if X is between 1776, right? And then we multiply by 2 to get the other one. All right. Number 5, what did you guys get? All right, for number 5, you guys, you just cross multiply, okay? And when you multiply that 5 times the denominator, you need to distribute it. So you're going to get 5x plus 100, all right? And then you get 15x here and just solve. But SAT loves to do this, where you solve and you get like, oh, it's 10, and then everyone picks 10. But actually, you were supposed to do this. So, like, be really careful that you finish the problem. It happens a lot. They will put that first answer, okay? So be sure you just read the whole problem. What's x divided by 5? Oh, yeah, it's 2. Okay, what'd you guys get for 6? Now that I'm showing it to you. Okay, this is a system of equations. You can do substitution or elimination. Substitution is much easier because we don't have a variable that's easy to solve for. So you guys just multiply the top by 3, the bottom by -2. That'll cancel the x's. It'll give you a plus 6x and a minus 6x, okay? But multiply all the way through on those. Solve for your y, and then solve for x. And again, make sure you don't pick an answer until you read what it says. What is the value of x minus y? So after you get x and y, be sure you do x minus y, okay? They like to add that one extra step at the end. Okay, number 7. Actually, what are we on? Yeah, number 7, what did you guys get? Okay, it is C. This is actually important connection that really doesn't come till after Algebra 2. Maybe Algebra 3, maybe definitely pre-calc, you learn this, okay? Anytime you have a graph, wherever it crosses right here is a factor. So this looks like it's linear of some sort, okay? If I plotted all the points, this point right here is the point 4, 0. That means that there is a factor of x minus 4. Anytime you factor something, the opposite is a solution, which is where it crosses the x-axis, okay? So you plug it in opposite. Number 8, what did you guys get? Okay. So you guys, they're giving you y equals kx plus 4. You want to solve for k. All right, so you would subtract the 4. Oh, and you want to plug in c comma d. All right, the line contains cd. So I plugged in c for x and d for y, okay? Then you can just solve for the slope. So what is the slope, which is your k, the number in front of x, in terms of c and d? So plug in c, plug in d, plug in x and y. All right, and then isolate your k, and that's just your slope. Number 9, what did you guys get? Okay, These are the ones that we Devlin students frequently miss, and they love these questions about parallel lines and same line, okay? Where you have consistent or inconsistent, dependent or independent. It's probably been a while, and we didn't focus a lot on it in our books, okay? So it says K is a constant, X and Y are variables. For what value of K will the system have no solution? First of all, you need to know that no solution means parallel lines. You have to know that, okay? No solution means they don't cross ever, okay? Parallel lines, they do not cross, which means I need to know that they have the same slope. So take this. So what you want to do is solve for y on each of these, okay? So minus the kx right here, divide by the -3, and then do the same thing here, minus the 4x, and divide by -5. And so they have to have the same slope, which means this has to be equal to this. That is the slope part of the equation, y equals mx plus b. So set the slopes equal. And if you set them equal, you can just cross multiply to solve for k. All right, so when you cross multiply, you get 5k equals 12, divide both sides by 5k, and we get 12/5. So both of them have to have that slope of 12/5 to never cross, to be no solution, okay? All right, number 10, what did you guys get? Okay. So we have a parabola with this equation. It intersects the line y equals 25 at 2 points. You really don't even need to graph this. If y is 25, you can just plug it in and solve. It will give you 2 points, okay? So if you plug in 25, you're going to square root both sides. Now, whenever you square root, it's always plus and minus when you're solving algebraically, okay? So you have plus and minus 5. Then you're going to add 11. So you're going to do plus 5 plus 11 and minus 5 plus 11, okay? So you end up getting 2 solutions. Oh, and then they trick you on this. Let's see. So negative plus 5, that'd be 16, right? And the other one would be 6. Okay, if you are looking at a graph, and then they, of course, ask you a nice little tricky question, okay? So it says intersects with this at 2 points, A and B. So this is the point A and the point B. What is the length of AB? Well, that distance is 10, okay? So it is a parabola. That might help you visualize it if you remember, shifted to the right 11, and it just goes up, okay? And then you're just looking for the distance between those 2 points. All right, number 11, you should get B. So it says in the figure above, KL and M intersected a point. And we know that x plus y equals u plus w. They're telling us this here. Okay, so first of all, we have vertical angles. So do you guys all agree that this equals this just because of geometry, vertical angles? Vertical angles are always equal, okay? Then they tell us that x plus y is equal to u plus w, which means what has to be equal when they tell us that? Well, it means that x and w have to be equal. Because if I take these out, these are equal to each other by vertical angles. They're samesies, okay, y and u. I could cross them off. That means that x has to equal w as well, all right? So now I can see what is true, okay? X equals z. And we do know this is true. How do I know? Because these are also vertical angles here. So I know that w and z are equal. So also x and w are equal. Okay, so z has to equal x as well. Okay, does y equal w? So y does not equal w. All right, we did know that they added, right? But not this and this. Those are not equal. And then z equals t. That is true because all of these are a number 2 angle. They're vertical and they had to be the same based on that plus sign equation they gave us. Okay, so the answer is B. All right. Here we have a quadratic above. A is a non-zero constant. The graph of the equation in the xy plane is a parabola with a vertex at CD. What is equal to D? Okay, you guys, this is in vertex form. I don't know when you guys learned this, but it's past algebra 2, all right? Maybe algebra 3, maybe pre-calc, okay? But it's in vertex form. These two guys are the x-intercepts. You guys agree? Positive 2, negative 4, those are factors. So the opposites here, positive 2, negative 4, are the x-intercepts. The vertex is somewhere in the middle. That wasn't drawn very well. It's exactly in the middle of those two x-intercepts. So I need to average positive 2 and negative 4. Add them up and divide by 2 because the center has to be right in the middle of those x-intercepts, okay? So when you add those and divide by 2, you get negative 1. So then you plug the negative 1 back in for x. This is only the x part of the vertex. That is the center of the two x-intercepts, okay? So plug it back in. This gives me negative 3. This gives me positive 3. Those multiply to give me negative 9a. Okay? And we don't know what a is. Just some constant, okay? A few things that we'll remember about parabolas on here. All right, 13 is actually quite easy. So you guys probably were like, whoa, this looks really hard. Those of you that didn't know how to do it. It's actually really easy. So you guys, it says, we have this division problem, and it's giving us the answer. Like, you actually did this in Algebra 1, because I've been teaching it just this year, all right? And then you did it again in Algebra 2, where you're doing, like, long division. We're doing the top divided by this, and they're literally telling you the answer, okay? So, all I have to do is the first step. This divided by this equals this, okay? So 24 divided by what equals negative 8? Yeah, negative 3. That's all it is. That's literally all it is, okay? That's it. Step 1, okay? What is the value of A? So that's all you do, okay? Number 14, what are the solutions to this problem? I would probably do the quadratic formula, x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, it doesn't factor. If you graph it on your calculator, actually this is no calculator, but I think that the test, someone just told me, is all calculator. So if you did, you wouldn't get it in radical form anyways. Your calculator give you decimals, so that would be annoying to figure out which is which. I would do quadratic formula. One thing I did do to make it easier is divide everything by 3. So if you didn't, it's just bigger numbers that you then have to simplify. But if you have like a common number, divide it out, you get this. And now I have just a is 1, b is 4, c is 2, so x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times 1. Just keep simplifying if you guys remember how to do quadratic equation, okay? All right, and this next one, number 15. The equation above shows how a temperature F measured in degrees Fahrenheit relates to temperature C measured in degrees Celsius. Based on this equation, which of the following must be true? All right, so this is the sentence for slope that you guys memorized in Algebra 2 and maybe now AP Stats just this week, all right? For every 1 increase in your X variable, okay, our Y variable increases or decreases by a certain amount. This 5/9, if you distribute it, this 5/9 is still just the slope, okay? So for every 1 degree increase in my degrees Fahrenheit, that's your X, okay? We're going to increase by 5/9 degrees Celsius. Now, it also works the other direction if you solve for F, okay? So I have C equals 5/9 F minus whatever 32 times 5/9 is, okay? And what I can do is move that 32 times 5/9 to the other side. All right, and then multiply by the reciprocal of 9/5. Okay. Solve for degrees Fahrenheit, and I get a new slope of 9/5. It works this way as well. Number 2, a temperature increase of 1 degree Celsius, now that's your X, is equivalent to a temperature increase of 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you just switch your formula, solve for the other one, now it's true for your slope as well. This one, though, is not true, okay? So D is the correct answer. And number 16. Now we're like filling in the answer instead of multiple choice. So pay attention to like this stuff on these problems, okay? X has to be positive. What's one possible solution? What I did is I distributed this, and this is a very doable problem, all right, once you see it. Distribute it, you get x to the 5th, exponents add, minus 5x cubed, and then add this 4x to the other side. So you set it equal to 0. And then it's a factoring problem, and they're giving you something doable, okay? First, you can take out an x. You have x to the 4th minus 5x squared plus 4, okay? Now, this looks hard, you guys, but it just factors like you would, except it has x squared, and then what multiplies to positive 4 and adds to negative 5. And that would be negative 1 and negative 4. Okay, notice both of these factor again. They are difference of squares. So the x is in front, then I have x plus 2, x minus 2, x plus 1, x minus 1. What would this solution be? 0. What would this solution be? What would this solution be? Yep, and then negative 1 and then 1. But it said if x is greater than 0, what is one possible solution? So they would take either 1 or 2, and you can pick which one you want to put in the box, okay? You can pick a 1 or a 2. All right. Number 17, we do these in Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. You may have forgotten, okay? What is the value of x? What you really want to do is fraction bust, like get rid of the fractions so you don't have to solve this with a bunch of fractions. What do 9, 4, and 12 all go into? 36. Multiply everything by 36, okay? What is 36 divided by 9? 4. And then the 4 just multiplies to the 7 to get 28x, okay? 36 divided by 9 is 4. Then it multiplies here to give you negative 16x. Okay, 36 divided by 4 here is 9, and it multiplies to the 1. And then 12 goes into 36 3 times, and it multiplies to the 5. And then just solve, all right? And then it's really easy if you fraction bust. Okay, all right, a little geometry for you. Number 18, two isosceles triangles are shown above. If 180 minus z equals 2y and y is 75, what is the value of x? They're giving you a little algebra here. Just plug in the 75 for y, and you can solve for z, right? So plug the 75 in. You'll end up getting z is 30 after you do the algebra there. And then let's plug some stuff in. Okay, z is 30 degrees right here. It's isosceles. So the whole triangle adds up to what? Okay, so do 180 minus 30 is 150, and it's isosceles, so divide by 2. These two are both 75. Then I know x is supplementary, so I got to do 180 minus 75 to get x, which is 105. All right, so then you would just fill in the answer of 105. Trust me, you guys can do these. They just like add an extra thing in, okay? Plug in wherever you can plug in. Remember isosceles triangles, very doable. All right, 19. We do these in Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. Probably after that you still do them, okay? At the lunch stand, each hamburger has 50 more calories than fries. So your first formula is hamburger equals fries plus 50. The other formula is that 2 hamburgers and 3 fries have 1,700 calories. So 2H plus 3F equals 1,700. And then this is already set up for substitution. You could do elimination, but substitution is easier because they have the H by itself. So you just take that and plug it in and solve a roux, okay? It does ask how many calories the hamburger has. So I did end up solving for fries. Then you got to add the 50 at the end to get the hamburger, okay? So if you can write your 2 equations, very doable. Always go back and reread what it's actually asking so you make sure you answer the question for hamburgers, calories in the hamburger, okay? All right, number 20. In triangle ABC, the measure of angle B is 90 degrees. So I would probably draw my triangle, okay, where B is the 90-degree angle right here. BC is 16, so label it however you want. ABC, okay, BC is 16. AC is 20. And so I can find this two ways, Pythagorean theorem, or they love to put these on the SAT. What kind of triangle is that? It's a 3, 4, 5, okay? This is a 3, 4, 5, all multiplied by what? 4. So I could find 12 really fast without Pythagorean theorem. They put that on there a lot. But Pythagorean theorem also works, okay? So you get 12 for that missing side. Triangle DEF is similar. What do we know about similar triangles? They are proportional. They're proportional, okay? So we have another triangle, DEF, corresponding. So be sure you go in the same order that you did ABC, DEF, okay? And each side of the triangle DEF is a third the length. So divide the 12 by 3 and you get 4. Divide 20 by 3 and just write 20 thirds and 16 thirds, okay? And then it says, what is the value of sine F? They like to throw SOHCAHTOA on this, usually once it's on this test, okay? So do you guys remember SOHCAHTOA? Okay, so sine of F, that is this angle here, is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, okay? So it's 4 divided by 20 thirds, and then you flip the second fraction and multiply, so you end up getting 3/5 after you reduce, okay? 12 over 20, or 3/5. So sine is the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse side. That went pretty quick today. The next one will probably be a lot more crammed in because I have to do 38 problems next time. All right, you guys, listen up, though. The next part of the test is due 4/10. Okay, write that down. April 10th. It's a long ways away, all right? But it'll be right before your SAT test. So it'll be good practice. So you have a while. I did schedule, like, sort of a session, like on the whatever Wednesday after spring break for you guys to take the test, but you can really just do it whenever you want, all right? It is calculator. And take just whenever you have time, please get that done, and we'll go over it on the 10th. How did